Most content problems aren't creative problems, they're workflow problems. Good ideas exist, strong opinions exist, even useful references exist. But the moment you try to turn all of that into something publishable, it gets messy. Tabs multiply, notes scatter, tone drifts. And suddenly, the simple blog post turns into a mini project that never quite ships. I'm Luke Houghton, founder of ProjektID. I started ProjektID in 2019 with a simple focus: build digital realities that hold up under pressure. Not just nice looking, but reliable, structured, and practical. Over the years, that's meant designing and engineering websites, databases, automation, and content systems. And it's also meant learning where workflow friction hides. Because friction is rarely loud. It's the quiet stuff that steals time, consistency, and confidence. Bag, the blog article generator, exists for that exact reason. It's an AI-driven writing workspace that takes rough ideas and references and turns them into sectioned, source-aware, SEO-ready drafts, not as a copy-paste machine, but as a governed production flow. You bring the spark. Bag turns it into a structured reader journey, with headings that make sense, sections that hold together, and outputs that are ready for a clean CMS handoff. The aim is simple: ship articles built on evidence, not opinion, and do it consistently, whether you're writing one post or building an entire calendar. Here's the practical side of it. Because good tools should feel predictable. Bag can run in two main tracks. The first is the single track. You start with one article, run research, generate the table of contents, draft the sections, then produce the metadata. And the key detail is this: you don't have to redo everything if one input changes. You rerun only what needs updating, so the article stays as one clear source of truth, not 5 half-finished versions. The second is the portfolio track, which is where Bag starts behaving like a real publishing system. You can bulk add articles, research them as a cohort, generate TOCs and sections across the set, and then export structured fields for review. It's built for momentum, without losing control. Everything is action metered in a way that's easy to plan. Research, TOC, meta, and per section generation. Quotas reset monthly, so capacity maps cleanly to your publishing rhythm. And there's a rule that matters more than it sounds: office language consistency. You set one office language, and Bag writes every output in it: headings, transitions, summaries, tags, snippets. The lot. Even if the sources are in other languages, Bag can ingest them in native form, preserve the raw text, and then output drafts in your office language. That keeps production consistent, while the audit trail stays intact. If I had to summarize the why behind Bag, it's this: evidence first. Bag keeps sources attached to drafts, so every claim stays checkable. That changes the entire review process. Instead of "where did this come from?" turning into a time sink, the raw source text sits right there beside the draft, paired with citations and timestamps. Verification becomes straightforward, updates become safer, and teams stop guessing. Another detail people underestimate: change is visible. Bag supports targeted reruns and logs what's changed and when. That means you can regenerate a section without accidentally rewriting the entire piece, and you can compare versions without relying on memory. It's defensive workflow, designed to reduce regressions. Then there's export integrity. Bag isn't just producing text, it's producing structured fields that remain structured when you leave the system. Audit-friendly exports retain the traceability: the draft, the citations, the timestamps, and the schema fields that describe persona, intent, audience, expertise, and section rules. So whether the content is going into a CMS or into Sheets for review, it arrives with context intact. That's the point. Move fast, but don't get sloppy. BAG is built for clarity at scale, where scale doesn't mean chaos, it means repeatable standards. Now let's talk about day-to-day usability, because systems only matter if they're easy to run. BAG is table native. You can search fast, not just by title, but by topic, persona, intent, audience, tags, and keywords. That means you can find one draft in seconds or surface an entire cohort when you're planning a campaign or reviewing gaps. Views are flexible too. Sometimes you want to proof a small set slowly. Other times you want to scan hundreds quickly. Bulk select, regroup, and export. BAG supports that shift without making you jump tools. And this is where comparative insight becomes useful. You can filter drafts by intent, expertise, or voice to spot overlaps and gaps. You can cluster related pieces into a series. You can see where the calendar is heavy, where it's thin, and what's ready to ship versus what needs another pass. Targeted reruns. Keep the workflow clean. If inputs change, you can re-research, regenerate TOC, meta, or just a specific section without doing the full article again. That keeps production efficient without losing quality. Finally, there's pipeline clarity. Each article shows its status: researched, structured, drafted, metadata ready. That visibility matters for planning. It's what turns content work into an operational pipeline that teams can actually forecast, manage, and sustain. If you're wondering how you actually start with BAG, it's intentionally straightforward. First, you choose the BAG subscription level that matches your cadence today and the ambition you're building toward. The levels scale actions and article capacity, but the workflow stays consistent. That matters because it means you don't have to learn a new system every time you scale up. After checkout, you'll receive a welcome email with access instructions and a short orientation. The first meaningful setup step is setting your office language and saving your presets, so every draft starts in the same voice, with the same guardrails. Then you complete the prerequisites for each article. At minimum, that's an overview or brief and any references you want attached. Optionally, you can define a section word limit and a section-by-section blueprint. And that's not extra admin, it's what raises quality and speed at the same time. From there, the generation sequence is stable. Research, then TOC, then sections, then meta. And the discipline is only rerun what's changed. No retyping loops, no rewriting because something drifted. When you're ready to publish, BAG supports two clean paths: copy blocks directly into your CMS, or export structured spreadsheets for review and scheduling. With citations, timestamps, and consistent voice, approvals get easier, and the calendar becomes something you control, not something you chase. On pricing, BAG is available at projektid.co/blog-article-generator. There are monthly, month-to-month subscription levels. Level 1 is €14.99. Level 2 is €22.49. Level 3 is €33.79. And level 4 is €50.59. And there are annual options billed over 12 months with savings depending on the level. Level 1 is €134.89. That works out at about €11.24 per month. Level 2 is €188.89, about €15.74 per month. Level 3 is €263.19, about €21.93 per month. Level 4 is €364.19, about €30.35 per month. The bigger message behind those numbers is simple. BAG is designed to give you a reliable content production system, one that keeps evidence attached, keeps voice consistent, and keeps outputs clean enough that publishing doesn't turn into formatting work. That's the mentality behind ProjektID as a whole. Reduce friction, protect quality, and build systems that hold their shape as you grow. Thanks for listening. If you want to explore BAG in more detail, head to the BAG page. And if you're comparing tools across the ProjektID ecosystem, think in terms of workflow outcomes. What reduces the most friction for how you operate right now, and what stays dependable when you scale?